So Brendan Sorsby gets a letter from the NFL. We've looked at it, and we're going to do no supplemental draft. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, where were you when you heard the news on the shock meter?
5. I mean, it's interesting. We really never talked about this. You know, some people glossed over the fact that maybe the NFL won't allow this. Most people believed that the NFL, once he went through the supplemental draft, whoever selected him, it was going to be a Terrell Pryor situation where coming out of Ohio State, you know, he was knocked by the NCAA, and they carried that punishment, so to speak, over into his NFL career. And I think he was suspended for the first 4 games. I'm not surprised because everybody talks about the timing of this, because it was, you know, before mini camps, a month before the supplemental draft, or within a month. Like, if the timing would have been differently, I don't know if the NFL would have stood behind this integrity thing. I think they probably let it go, and then they punish him on the other side. I mean, for the record, I don't think Brendan Sorsby should have been playing college football this year, but his punishment is his punishment. And, like, he's already lost millions and millions of dollars. Even if he was to go in this supplemental draft, he was going to go later. He wasn't going to nearly make the money he's going to make. And now, like, he has been buried. It will be the 2027 draft before he can come out. I don't know who takes a chance on him there, because he's not going to be playing football this year. So it's a complicated thing. But I do think if the timing would have been a month out further the other way, so this was May 24th, I think there's a good chance he gets in the supplemental draft, but they just a harsh 4 to 6 game suspension.
Well, it's being labeled, Brownie, as the NFL delivering, I'm reading right here from Yahoo, a scathing lesson in accountability. I'll ask you, if Brendan Sorsby had not tried to, you know, go through the courts to play at Texas Tech, if he had just said, man, I'm going to this 35-day thing, and then I'm going to go to the NFL and try to get into the supplemental draft. If he hadn't tried to, being perceived, skirt around the rules,
well,
he probably would have.
Maybe so, because that's point blank what Roger Goodell says in the letter is you were trying to skirt your NCAA suspension by doing this, and we're just not going to allow that.
Well, and the NFL got a read off of the Big 12 and college football. I mean, This has been a shitstorm. So the NFL looks at it and they're like, everybody but Texas Tech wants this guy to play. So why are we going to take on the PR when it's really easy with the timing, just saying, hey, look, integrity of the game, we're not ready to deal with this. He can be eligible for the 2027 draft. It's an easy out for the NFL.
But
it really is.
Damian, one of our viewers and listeners, he and I were texting back and forth and talking yesterday. He's just blown away. He just thinks, he's like you. He thinks the guy's already, he's gone to rehab. His name's been in the papers and on the internet and all that for 2 months now, 3 months now. He's losing the money. He can't play college football this year. How much should he be penalized for all this when all the other things that go on with NFL players? Why are we drawing the line on him, you know, gambling?
I think it was the brazen attitude, like, hey, man, we're going to play. We don't care. You know, I might have bet $90,000 and 40 different wagers on my former team, but hey, we're going to challenge this and we're going to end up playing. So I think they did become public enemy number one.
Everybody always goes back to Leonard Little or, you know, Marvin.
I know.
I mean, all the incidents, Ray
you're
Lewis,
absolutely right,
that have happened over the years, and they're like, okay, this is where you're going to draw
the line.
You're right. We celebrate Ray Lewis, who was involved in a murder.
Look, Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill has had a very, very unfortunate past, but there are teams like my Dolphins traded a ton for him. I mean, there are teams lined up to get Tyreek Hill. Now, I don't know if he's coming off injury now.
Dude, if he would have
you didn't worry about the stuff off the field, but now that he's injured, everybody's like, ooh, I don't know.
I mean, if you knew Sorsby was going to be as good as Drake May, and teams knew that he gambled against his team, I still think there would be an appetite probably to take him.
Maybe so. If you knew he was going to be Drake May. Yeah, that was the problem is, and Clay says this often, and Clay is absolutely right about this, as long as your abilities outweigh your set of circumstances or set of problems, you're always going to have a spot. I just don't know that Brendan Sorsby's abilities outweighed his problems, and that's why he's probably never going to be an NFL quarterback.
You know, months ago, I think we said, like, you know, maybe his most significant playing days are behind him because we didn't think at that point he was ever going to be able to play college football again. and you wondered what the NFL was going to do with this, and now we're kind of seeing it. And now that he is not eligible for this supplemental draft, I'm not going to say out of sight, out of mind, but when you look at the depth of the quarterbacks coming out next year, he's going to be buried one day, way down. There's going to be this tier of the Arches and the Dantes and the Darian Mensahs, and then people are going to be like, we remember Brendan Sorsby. This guy's got a ton of potential, but where's the pecking order? This guy could fall to 4th, 5th round next year.
I remember watching the draft the night Maurice Clarett was drafted. Do you guys remember that?
Yep. Yeah.
And I want to come back to him because he's got an interesting side note in this story. But I remember that it was the end of one of the last rounds of the night, either the 3rd or 4th round. I can't remember which round it was. But ESPN was scrambling they were just waiting on that last pick so they could wrap up and get to SportsCenter. And then the pick was announced, Maurice Clarett, and it stopped the show. And they're like, whoa, let's don't get out of here yet. Let's discuss this. Because it was a big moment in the NFL. Because for those that forget what Clarett did, Clarett was kicked out of Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he challenged to go draft eligible after 1 year.
After 1 year.
Well, he had the Jim Tressel incident, right?
That's
Signing
right.
autographs and everything after the national championship. So he was going to be suspended a little bit.
He was going to be suspended. And he tried to sue, saying that his ability to earn a living was restricted by the NFL's rules that say you must be out of school at least 3 years. He won in a lower court. It got appealed to a higher court. Ironically, the judge that ruled on it is now in the Supreme Court, Sonia Sotomayor, the Supreme Court justice. She was the one that gave the ruling in favor of the NFL. And the ruling that she gave said that the collective bargaining agreement has given the NFL sole decision-making on whether or not to have a supplemental draft. The Players Association gave that up. They told the NFL, you handle that. You get to make that decision all on your own. We have no say-so in it. You make that decision. So the NFL has the right to whether or not to hold a supplemental draft. They didn't for Clarett, and the court supported them, saying that's their right to do that. Ironically, here's what's weird about this. The attorney that represented the NFL Players Association in that argument that was arguing, hey, we gave up that right. The NFL should be able to say we're not having a supplemental draft is a guy named Jeffrey Kessler. Do you know who's representing Brendan Sorsby right now against the NFL?
I would say it's Jeffrey Kessler.
Jeffrey Kessler. Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Yep.
Yeah, he's the same attorney that years ago was arguing on behalf of the NFL.
But
now he's arguing
back
against
to the
the same
Players
rule.
Association you bring up. I guess this is the good and bad of it. You know, we talk about having a Players Association when it comes to NIL and college football. You know, the Players Association, like we as a company can hire whoever we want, I guess, as long as they're not under a non-compete. Like, I'm sure there's teams out there that would love to just go out and sign Brendan Sorsby as a free agent.
Yeah.
But because of the Players Association, can't do anything about it.
Yeah, he's got no ability to be a free agent. He's got to go through the draft according to the ruling yesterday. So here are his choices. Immediately, he could go to the CFL.
I think I would.
They're in week 4. And so he could go up there and play and start as a backup
he's
and win
getting
the job.
reps. And to me, what it would show, if I'm a general manager, I don't know if you guys agree with this, and I'll let you get to the option. Sorry. Like his passion to play, like he's taking a massive pay cut to go up north to show, you know, how consumed he is with football and his commitment.
But we're assuming the CFL would say, oh, sure, come on up here and play.
Come on and gamble.
Yeah, NCAA doesn't want you, NFL doesn't want you, but we'll take you.
I think they would because,
Maybe.
the CFL just does not have the PR it used to have.
Yeah.
If it ever.
Mike Rapoli, the owner of the UFL, who's been on our show, and is probably making a decision right now whether Birmingham is still going to have a franchise or not, has already reached out on social media. Welcome to the UFL, Brendan Sorsby. The UFL is a league of opportunity. We created a regional player initiative to keep great players closer to home. So he's now, Brendan Sorsby, is part of the Dallas Renegades, and they've already got him mocked up in a jersey. They don't play until March, but
that's the
Rapoli
problem.
and them are saying, get ready and play in March, and that will lead into the April NFL
the April
draft.
You at least get 2 or 3 games of action that they can evaluate you on. I don't know if that's enough.
Maybe. I mean, the CFL is a better league, right?
It's a different game.
Yeah,
they play.
It's actually a
I'm
different
just saying
ball.
I think there's more talented players in the CFL.
I would trust, like if you told me the Dolphins have to pick a quarterback from the CFL or the UFL, I think I would want to take a guy from the CFL to answer your question.
Really?
Neither.
I think that game has changed so much.
What UFL quarterback have you ever watched that you're like, I'd like him to be a Buccaneers quarterback?
None.
Okay.
None.
And I don't know of a CFL quarterback I've watched either, but
but this is not the old CFL. I mean, I
hadn't watched it in a while.
Yeah,
they don't throw it all over the field anymore?
They do, but there's a lot. They changed a rule where you've got to have mostly Canadians on the team now.
Oh, really?
So it's not the quality of football it used to be when it was mostly Americans that were on the team, and you just had a few Canadians. No knock against the Canadian audience who's watching us, but
yeah. I mean, so we know
outside of Jesse Palmer, who have you produced?
Warren Moon, Theismann, Doug Flutie.
Those guys are gone. Those guys are not up there anymore.
They're not
That's
Canadians.
what I'm saying. Like, it's been a long time. Jeff Garcia was a CFL guy, but I can't remember another player coming from the CFL.
No, I mean, but
I mean, the UFL is the same thing.
I've never watched a UFL quarterback and thought there's an NFL quarterback. I mean, quarterback play in the UFL is not good.
It's not.
I mean, it's just not.
But
again, we always say about these spring leagues, the NFL doesn't have 32 good starters. So if the NFL doesn't have 32 good starters, how is the UFL going to have a good starter?
Yeah, I have brought up the fact that this is dangerous for me to have this opinion, but I think it was overblown, his gambling problem. I think much like a lot of guys in their early 20s, he just liked to wager. Look, it was black and white. He wasn't supposed to do it. That's why he shouldn't be playing this year. But how are you guys on the NFL not allowing the supplemental draft? Like, do you guys think the punishment's a little much based on the fact that he will be buried dead and gone until 2027?
That is a harsh punishment, Lance, but I do like the NFL having the consistent stance of we're not going to allow guys to skirt NCAA suspensions by coming to our league.
As I explained yesterday, I said he waited until 3 days before the deadline to put his paperwork in.
That's right.
He had exhausted all other options to stay in college, and then the NFL felt like, well, okay, now I've got to do this NFL thing.
Your last
if I'm
resort.
the NFL, I was like, no, if you'd have done this at the front end, then maybe we would have done it. But you waited until you had no other option.
Yeah,
it is interesting. I mean, it does sound hypocritical for the NFL with the partnerships they've got with a lot of the gambling brands.
Yeah, aside from the gambling, I just like that they've had a pretty solid policy of if you're facing major NCAA suspension, don't think you can come here just to skirt that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have minded if they would have said, hey, look, we're going to suspend him half a year or even a year. Like, you can draft this guy, but he's going to be suspended for 2026.
And I was explaining this to people yesterday too. In the NFL, when you're suspended, you don't still get a paycheck.
Right.
You lose if you're suspended for 4 games, you lose 4 games of paycheck. When Calvin Ridley was suspended for a year for gambling when he was injured, he lost a year of paycheck.
A ton of money.
When Jameson Williams was suspended for not gambling on the NFL, gambling legally, but just inside the NFL facility, and whatever it says, was it 4, 6, whatever?
I think it was 4 games. I thought maybe it was 6. I can't
whatever
remember.
It was
a significant suspension.
But he lost that money, that paycheck. So the NFL takes it seriously too. And the third option for him is to, Texas Tech said, "Man, we're here to support every court filing they did." And every news conference they had when they did the 4 guys sitting around with being interviewed, that 22-minute video, they were we're here to support Brendan Sorsby, the person first, the student first. I know they parted ways, jointly decided to part ways so he could go to the NFL. If I'm Brendan Sorsby, I would consider taking them up on their offer. You guys said you're here to support me.
Guess who's back?
You've given me some money. I'm going to come to Texas Tech. I'm going to train at Texas Tech. I'll run scout team quarterback.
You're not saying try to play.
Not
just
try to play.
Be there as almost.
They've already done their exit paperwork. I mean, we brought this up. I said last week, like, is it not wise for him just to push forward? Because I think he'd get his $5 million because they're already all in.
That's right.
Like, continue to fight it. At least you could. Like, I wouldn't. I mean, that's not a bad option to circle back. Hey, can I be part of Texas Tech's team? Now, I think Joey McGuire would probably say too big of a distraction. Yeah. There's no reason.
So essentially, you're saying you're paying me anyway. Let me at least earn my keep.
I want to work out in the facilities.
Run scout team.
I want to eat the training table.
I'll watch film with our quarterbacks and help them as much as I can.
Would he be allowed to work out with them? I mean, scout team
in this world of NFL, in college football, who knows? I mean, all it would take would be one.
I mean,
lawsuit.
John Parker Wilson was running scout team against.
All it would take with them would be to make him a GA at this point.
I'll never forget.
I mean, they could make him a GA.
Yeah, wasn't Saban cussing him?
Yeah, John Parker Wilson came back and ran scout team. Now they closed the loophole. That was a loophole rule that Nick Saban found.
Of course.
And they closed it very, very quickly. I'll just never forget JP like, hey, we skinned them up pretty good. Nick Saban. JP's like, yeah, we skinned them up pretty good. Nick got mad. He was yelling at us, but we were taking it to him.
Yeah, but I would do that. I'd say, listen, man, Texas Tech would have to allow him to come back because they said they were going to do this. We're about the player. This isn't about us winning football games. We're about the player. So it's either you step up and let him come back and train and eat and run scout team and get out there and throw the ball around, or you are a bunch of liars.
Okay, so to your options, he needs to do one of the three. What he doesn't need to do is whatever the settlement was with Texas Tech, $1 million, $2 million, is disappear.
He doesn't need to Johnny Manziel.
That's right.
Yep. He needs to show that he is committed to the game of football. Like, I'm sure he's got a PR team, hopefully different from what he had at Texas Tech, that is behind the scenes saying, look, we're going to draft this up. We're going to have, let him have his moment, do a Pat McAfee interview or something massive.
Do the tell-all.
Where he's like, look, man, I understand the NFL's decision. I understand Texas Tech's decision, the Big 12. This is on me. I am accepting this, and I am going to be a better person for it, and I am going to show you guys my commitment to the game of football. Like, that needs to be done sooner than later in the next 48 hours.
Yeah. I mean, just run through it, though. I mean, I didn't think he was going to be that great. And for this upcoming draft, when he goes in there, Arch, Dante, you just start naming them. You can go 7.
Darian Mensah.
I would put Trinidad Chambliss ahead of him, but some of you would not.
Sam Levitt might be. I mean,
Levitt might be.
There's a lot of guys. I mean, it's going to be it should be a really deep quarterback draft.
Like, he could be 7th, 8th.
Yeah, Josh Hoover.
Yeah, on the board by the time you get there.
I mean,
your boy at USC.
Yeah,
Maheva. I mean, that's just on talent. That's not even considering the substantial weight that he brings. That's just on talent.
And that's the thing. You look at, like, let's go Jaden Maheva. Okay. I've got these guys equally ranked, but I just saw this guy play, and he wasn't gambling on football.
I know who I'm drafting.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna really, this thing is gonna tumble. Yeah, sadly.
I mean, he could wait till 2027 to be a non-drafted free agent.
That would be the ruling, as long as he waits until that draft, because he's eligible in that draft. Then he becomes a free agent.
But they haven't come out.
Process,
right.
I don't think they've come out and say he is eligible for the 2027 draft, but I would think he's got to be.
I think they did in the paper.
I thought the
you have to
paperwork.
wait until
I thought
the
the paperwork
2027 draft.